Just in case you don't remember, once upon a time, I tried to turn a Hofner Shorty into a baritone, and the results...
A more accurate question would have been, can I turn a Hofner Shorty into a baritone? No. No, I can't.
Now wait a minute. I can do a lot of things that I couldn't do before. Like when a friend of mine dropped off his guitar to be restrung. Initially, I thought the thing that we were going to have to work with was just basically a restring. But we have another issue. You can hear that there's a grounding problem. Switch in the rear position. Switch in the middle position. Switch front. At least the tone knob works and the volume knob works. So we may have a bad switch, we may just have bad wiring, but that's kind of where we are. But I learned how to fix that kind of stuff. I learned all kinds of things, like how to speed up the speed of the film so it looks like I'm playing a lot faster than I actually am. So the real question is, do I want to go through the trouble of learning how to do it and truly turn that Hofner Shorty into a true baritone, B to B, true baritone, or screw it up beyond all repair? I think we know the answer. I'm going to reduce a few hours worth of research down to some very simple steps. Here's what I learned about converting a standard guitar to a baritone. Step number 1 is buying the right strings, which is more complicated than you think, but easier with a tension calculator. Once the new strings have arrived, we restring the guitar. That's more difficult because we have to pay attention to the width of the string slots in the nut as well as the height of our bridge or saddles. The next step is by far the hardest for me, to leave the thing alone and let the strings settle. Then check your neck relief. If you don't let the strings settle, you're going to be chasing a problem for days. Up next is intonation. You may have issues with intonation and may have to settle for close, not precise. That's okay. The sun will still rise. At this point, it's time to adjust the pickup height because you may have issues with the amplitude or volume dependent upon the altitude of which side of the pickup is higher than the other. You may also have issues of muddiness, which is really going to be hard to tell with this particular adaptation. Still, I know some of you worry about that, which is why we get to the last step, which is just to sit back and enjoy the guitar. Now, here comes the real question. Can I make it to step 6? I'm going to start off by doing something I don't normally do. I actually learned that I should probably go look at an expert's way to do this. And one of the things that they do is you take the guitar's scale length and tension that you like, and you go to a string tension calculator. And basically, you enter the scale of the new guitar, at this point, 24.7, and you move the gauge of the string that you want up and down until you get the pounds or the tension to be equal. So by moving up, you can see what gauge of string I need in order to have the same tension on the B string that I have on an E string with the guitar that I actually favor. That takes care of the low string or the 6th string. Now I'm also going to go ahead and factor in the high E string equivalent to the high B string on the new baritone, given that same scale length. As you can see, it's really easy to head in the wrong direction with this, but part of it is just figuring out which octave is which note. But once you get this down, then you have a range from the low string to the high string that you can work within in order to determine the correct gauge of string for you to order for the converted guitar that's going to feel like the standard guitars that you already play. I know this seems like a really complicated step, but here's the reason why this is important. It's not just about the guitar feeling like a guitar that you already like. It is about maintaining the same level of tension on the neck. If you do this, you're less likely to have to adjust the relief of your neck, and you're also less likely to screw up your guitar. That way, you don't have to make any major modifications if you ever decide to restring this thing with a normal tuning and sell it. Sell it. Oh, sorry, I just went to my happy place. Anyway, before Shooter shows up in a Kiss mask, oh, well, yeah, that's obscure. I figured out the numbers for me. That's 12 to 54. So I go back to the Googler and I type in 12 to 54 guitar string. Now, of course, a couple sets come up that are almost exactly 12 to 54, but then I see the Slinkies. And I like the Slinkies. I've got them on everything. So, of course, even though the last string is a 56 as opposed to a 54, I go ahead and pop those into the cart. Before you bother to comment, I know that the tension of these is going to be very light. That's less likely to hurt the guitar, it's more likely to help my hands, and it's also less likely to have string buzz or problems that are going to cause me to have to adapt the guitar significantly. So now I'm free to move on to step 2 and restring the guitar. All right, so this whole thing started asking the question, can I turn a Hofner Shorty into a baritone? And the answer was, at first, no. Did I know how? No. But then I did some research, and I got close. I got a Baritenor out of it. But you know me, I'm just going to keep whittling. Just going to keep whittling, just going to keep changing, just going to keep pushing, going to keep pushing. And I started a little song for myself. You ready? Here we go. File the nut, change the strings, make a baritone that really sings. File the nut, change the strings, be a nut that really sings. Hofner Baritone, y'all.